We are still 22 days out from the Flames' home opener against the Flyers, but that does not mean that we can't make some bold predictions this far ahead.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a free 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube or YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So, in true preseason fashion, after just 2 days of training camp, I thought it would be fun to make some predictions. And these predictions are always something you can revisit. I think that it's a good way to check yourself and reevaluate things, as well as kind of see where things are actually at. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day. I think to start, we're gonna go bold. Okay, it's gonna be a bold situation to start. And some of these might not seem as bold to some people, but to me, they kind of do, because I feel like some of it's kind of potentially controversial. I don't know. But let's start off with the hottest storyline of the offseason, and that would be goaltending. I think that Dustin Wolf and Dan Vladar are going to do a 1A, 1B situation. Dan Vladar does not have even 100 any NHL games under his belt. He does not have the experience you need to be a full-time starter, nor do his numbers really, or any part of his resume even, give you confidence in him being your full-time starter. Dustin Wolf was brought up. They traded Jacob Markstrom for, cap space and to capitalize on his trade value, but also to allow Dustin Wolf to have the net. The net has been passed down, and we have been waiting for this for so long. Dustin Wolf has a very impressive resume. Everything you want in a goaltender is right there. The only quote-unquote red flag would be his size. And even then, that has not stopped him. That has not deterred him or gotten in the way of his success at any level. And now it's time for the big show. It's time for him to get settled into the NHL and really take over and make a name for himself and live up to his resume. I think that this is going to be so much fun to watch. I think that, Huska isn't the coach that, or I shouldn't say that. He doesn't seem like the coach that's just going to ride the hot goalie into the ground. I think about a few seasons ago, Jacob Markstrom starting 63 games. That is way too much of a workload for anyone, but especially a goaltender of his age. And that's that has lasting effects, as we saw the following season. But I don't know if that's I don't think that they're going to go out and trade for a goalie necessarily. If for some reason they're really good and they trade for a goalie, I feel like it would be a miracle. There would a lot of things, a lot, if not everything, would have to go right for the Flames to find themselves in that position. But I think this is the way they're going to roll. This next one, I really don't think that this is super bold, but I do think that Andrei Kuzmenko will be flipped by the deadline. 28 years old, on an expiring contract. If he is still playing very well and adding to, the way that he has contributed so far, and especially on the power play, teams are going to eat that up. Teams are going to want that, especially for their postseason run. I think about the Flames a few years back and how they added Toffoli because they knew that he could be worth something to their team. And they were right. This next one is like a stab to the heart. Like, just twist the knife even more. The penalty kill is going to be bad. We saw this penalty kill go from like top 5. Like, at one point in like 2 years ago, they were like top in the league. And it got a little rocky there. And then you trade Zadorov and, players get hurt. Shillington's out. You stop having that great penalty kill. And then you have players like Noah Hannafin get traded. You have Chris Tanev getting traded. And then you're left with like filler players. And that's not a knock to those guys. It's just a testament about how much, those guys meant to the Flames and what they contributed to the team. And I think that it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. I do think the defense that they currently have assembled is better than what they had at the end of last year. Might not be like light years better, but it is certainly better than what we saw. And I think, you got to do what you got to do, right? Like, at the end of the day, you have to hit the cap floor. You have to have so many men on your roster. You have to have X amount of players, and you need to dress players for games. You can't just roll 11-7 every night. Can't do that. Or, I mean, you can't really do that. That would be really bad. And I think that's not even a question. So I'm interested to see how the Flames adapt to this change, because we saw a little bit of it, but now there's been even more changes. And is this something that they're able to kind of collect themselves with and get themselves together and play an 82-game season? But we will be right back after this. We're going to talk about these young kids and the kids entering their sophomore season and the dreaded sophomore slump right after this. If you are looking to go to an NHL game this season, you need to check out Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and only shows you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time. I think that this is fantastic because I just like a quick 1-2 add in the cart. This is my view. Great. Good bang for my buck sort of deal. And Game Time allows that. Game Time also has curated deals to make it easier to find great deals on great seats. I really like Game Time because they do offer that panoramic view from your seat, and I will be taking advantage of that for the Saddle Dome because I don't know where to sit or what I'm going to see from where I'll be sitting. So check out Game Time today. You can download the Game Time app whenever you're ready, which I suggest right now, and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. One of the things that I think a lot of fans are looking forward to is the integration of young players. We did see some of it last season, of course. The main stars of the show were Pospisil and Zary, and fantastic, right? Like they both came out of the gate like hauling tail, like they were on fire. And then you had Coronato come up for a little bit. You saw Pelleteir for a little bit, and of course you had Dustin Wolf too. Like this is like that was a good start to things. Obviously not everyone is going to come out like that, like a not Pelletier, sorry, like Pospisil and Zary, and that's fine. Everyone takes their time, and I think that using time to get acclimated to the NHL last year was an advantage for Zary and Pospisil, and we saw that. I do think there is going to be a healthy rivalry for a spot in the roster, in the lineup, between Matt Coronato and Jakob Pelleteir. Both of them are kind of on that similar wavelength where you're an in-betweener. There hasn't been, Pelleteir basically missed all of last season due to an injury and then came back and then was almost immediately sent back down. And Coronato was a point per game player in the AHL last year. So he did not necessarily produce at the rate that you would want him to at the NHL level. So I think that both of them are going to be fighting for a spot. Do I think at some point they'll be able to be up at the same time? Yes. Do I think that is now, like right out of camp? Not necessarily. I think that, the roster is going to eventually take shape. We know that. And I think we'll have a clearer idea in probably a few days, probably early next week, what we might be working with. But it's not the end of the world if either one of them, if one makes the roster and the other doesn't. Do I think they need to figure out what to do with Walker Duehr? 100%. I think that you are absolutely fine waiving him. Not really a prediction, but I guess I do predict that something like that will happen. The same way they did it with, oh my gosh, Adam Ruzicka, and I believe Nick DeSimone as well. So, it happens. At some point, the experiment has to come to an end. But I think Dustin Wolf also has a fine season. I don't think he is going to be horrible, where we're questioning if he should be the next franchise goaltender. And I also don't think he's necessarily going to run away with like Calder votes. I think that that's a given. I think it's going to be, Macklin Celebrini, but I don't see him being like a finalist for that at all. I don't have really a bone to pick with Dustin Wolf. I think that last year, those 17, 18 games were good to get him acclimated and get him up to speed with the work ethic and the pace of play and life as an NHL player. I feel this one probably should have been in my bold predictions, but I do think Pospisil does see a bit of regression. He had a much shorter offseason due to, playing on the Slovakian national team and in the Olympic bid and the Worlds, where he ended up getting a little banged up. Not bad enough to really, it wasn't significant enough to take him out for surgery or anything like that, but he did miss the rest of Worlds. So that's that. I do think that he does face some regression. I think that, you know, very similar to Matthew Tkachuk, you got to rein it in. You got to rein the antics in. Do I think that Martin Pospisil is going to flip a puck at who's even a Leafs defenseman? Do I think he's going to flip a puck at Chris Tanev? No, I don't. I think that Pospisil gets under people's skin in a different way. So maybe if his like performance, like his production is kind of slipping, you might see a rise in antics. And that's not good. I think Zary's going to have a great campaign. I think that he is someone that took everything that he had to face, like the injury, like the the COVID year and being drafted and like not having that same development experience in that same timeline, as other players. And I think that he is ahead of where I projected him to be. And, this time last year, I was talking about how I think he would be mainly in the AHL and then maybe an in-betweener. Nope, I was wrong. And I'm very happy to be wrong in those situations. But with Zary having the season, he was able to sustain the success and the momentum from his start to the finish. Pospisil kind of, burnt out a little bit. I don't necessarily think Pospisil is going to have like a horrendous season by any means, like to the point where it's like, where did Martin Pospisil go? But I do think that there's going to be a noticeable difference in play. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting. I think that there are so many storylines within this team this season, and if you pick out like your favorite three, Dustin Wolf for one, Zary and Pospisil, and young defenseman. What does this next generation of Flames defense look like? If you pick out three things and really watch for those this season and pay attention and kind of like follow that, especially if the season is not good, you'll have an enjoyable time. But coming up next, we're going to talk about some players we have not talked about. Some returning players, some players that are newer to the team, and where this team might finish. But before we do that, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. You have heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3 free week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season game this Sunday afternoons out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. You can check out FanDuel and bet on futures. They have the Flames right now at 81.5 points over or under. Feels a little generous to me. So check out some like real professional like projections and still probably take the under. Visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sports book. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and making Locked On Flames part of your day. I'm so excited that the season is right around the corner. As I'm recording, this time in 3 weeks, I will be in Calgary, which is so exciting. Like, I can't believe it's finally happening. And you know what else I can't believe would actually happen? A Huberdeau campaign where he finishes above 50 points. But this may be the year. This may be the year. Why? I don't know. I have a gut feeling. There's no rhyme or reason behind this decision other than my gut. I think that he's not going to be like a point per game campaign by any means. Probably going to finish like 65 points. Would I like him closer to 75? 100%, but I'm going to go with 65. I think that, he'll be acclimated to this environment, to the altitude change, to the lifestyle changes, and everything that's kind of come with this. Like, he hasn't exactly had an easy time in Calgary. And I also predict that he will not be benched for an entire third period against any team or any period. I don't care. You sit him a shift, sure. That's fine. I don't care. A whole period? Then we're gonna have to start a dialogue if that happens again this year. I do think that Blake Coleman and Yegor Sharangovich are going to have really good years. I think that they're going to both have great back-to-back years. Both of them had career years last year, and they just shined. They were so fun to watch. I will miss Mangiapane on the line with Coleman and Backlund, but I think, getting some more speed and maybe a different winger in there, it's going to, set up so many different combinations. It looks like Backlund may not even center him. So we'll have to see, like, could he maybe be on a line with Kadri and Pospisil, or Kadri and Zary? Like, what are we going to see? It could be very interesting. And I think that Sharangovich, he constantly trains. And it's like rigorous. It's not just like, hee, I'm going for a walk. Like, his fiance will like post videos of them in the gym, and it's like, I would probably throw up if somebody asked me to do that. But I do think that his first year in Calgary was great. He signed that extension this summer, and I think he's going to have another good year. A 30-goal campaign? Probably not. Probably not. But I do think you're going to see some good out of him, especially, the main difference between here and New Jersey for him was the responsibility and a coach that actually knows how to coach young kids and work with them rather than working against them, thinking like tough love is the answer. Good luck to those in Buffalo again. But I do think that Miromanov and Grushnikov, I think they're going to have good years too. I think that those two are really the two blue liners to watch out for. I think that Miromanov is going to play more NHL minutes, at least to start. But Grushnikov, I mean, he looks good. I really like what both of them bring to the table, and hopefully are able to make a difference on the back end. And maybe on the penalty kill. Please save us. I don't really think the Flames are going to be a soggy middle team. I've seen people talk about how like they're going to blow this tank, they're going to mess it all up, or they're going to be too good to be as bad as we think they will be. To that, I just have to say, while there is still talent on this team, you lost a lot of talent last season. And it wasn't good. You lost 13 out of the remaining 15 games last year. That's not good. Like, news flash, but that is not good. Sure, your power play got better, but like, you stunk. And I think I was talking with JD Young from Locked On Sharks, and he said this is going to be the Flames version of the 2023-2024 Sharks. Now, if they go out there and lose games 10-2 or 7-1, there's going to need to, like, you have to take this medicine in order to get those high picks. And it's not tanking. You're never going to convince athletes to go out there and lose. Never. So I don't think that there's enough talent in the system right now to make up for what you lost. And that is that. I mean, I already miss Chris Tanev. I think that he was the backbone and the glue of the Flames penalty kill for so long that it's very weird to think about him not being there. But I also don't think that this team is going to be like drastically worse. I think they're like that feels like hypocritical to say because like, well, they're not going to be better this year, but because they lost all that talent, but like they're not going to be drastically worse. I think that they're going to pick around like that 7 to 10 mark again. I feel like with the inexperienced goaltending, you have a lot of new bodies on the team, a lot of young faces. Like, you aren't assembling a Stanley Cup championship team. That's that. But that will do it for me today on Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day and enjoy your weekend. And I will see you all on Monday. Have a great evening. And remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day.